We do have some action going on over the odor coming from that refinery. Health problems are showing up more and more in the classrooms these days.
And that, of course, is affecting learning. Teachers say more and more children are coming to school too sick or too disturbed to learn. The survey of elementary school teachers shows poor health reduces classroom learning. 94% of those asked said overall health and fitness are very important to the child's performance. The most common health problem teachers see, psychological and emotional difficulties. Well, in tonight's Family Healthcast, our focus is on kids and health. Nowadays, moms and dads are forced to leave their children in the care of others. Well, one Tulsa program is getting rave reviews. It's featured in this month's Working Mother magazine, The Clubhouse, and tonight, we take you there.
Nick, you gotta get my
Doing something like this would probably get you in trouble at home, but not at the Clubhouse. The before and after school care program is a little different than most.
Well, instructors are nicer, the place is nicer, they have nicer kids, everything's better. Even the snacks.
That's the feeling of most of the kids who are members of the Clubhouse. It's been open for 16 years, designed for school-age children.
We're the big kid place, so you have to be at least kindergarten or older to come. One of the things that I found when I was a social worker is I'd hear the big kids beg not to go to those baby places. And when I'd go and see them, they just didn't meet their needs. You know, they were safe, but it's very boring.
Each child chooses what interest group interests them. Some of them play dress-up or perform plays. Others enjoy time at the computer. Those are just a couple of the areas of fun.
I really like to go in the craft room and build crafts because I really can be free in there and like express what I'm feeling or something and just like do whatever I want. It gives you a lot to do when you come here instead of just like when you go home, instead of just sitting around watching TV, you can play with some of your best friends.
The students can move from area to area while the instructors stay put. The kids get individualized attention, and that's one of the big benefits.
I think staff ratios are extremely important. I would cut out a lot of things in the program before I'd cut staff ratios. And we have a staff ratio of 1 staff per 8 children, and I consider that crucial to the program.
Many of the activities at the Clubhouse are kid-planned, and that means kids have a greater say in their care. It does look like a lot of fun, even for us big kids. The program is open just during the school year, the hours from 7:15 in the morning until 6 in the evening. Half day costs $8 1/4, a full day, $15.50.
We know parents can use all the options they can get in that category.
You betcha.
It's not an easy decision.
No.
Rain could be moving
money for new playground equipment and other school needs. Organizers hope to raise more than $15,000.
Over the past several weeks, we have reported several disturbing stories about child care centers, some of them involving drugs and alcohol, even alleged molestation.
So it is good to know that some of Tulsa's child care centers are also among the best in the nation. One in particular, the After School Caring and Sharing program, considered one of the top 10 centers in the country by Working Mother magazine. It's a place that's setting new standards and goals, not only for child care, but for preparing children for the future. It's been a long day at school. Teachers telling you what to do, being quiet and sitting still. These kids are ready for a break. The first order of the day is, of course, food. But these snacks are all suggestions from the children. As long as the word nutritious can be placed in front of it, it can be on the menu. That's the mainstay of this program. Kids make their own choices, from the food they eat to what they do each day.
We call it organized confusion. But actually, sometimes it's so quiet in here you cannot believe it. The way we have choices is the Clubhouse is divided into different interest areas. And the children have a choice of going to the different interest areas, and the staff stay more or less stationary.
That's another unique point. There is one staff member for every 8 children. And the areas they supervise include the crafts area, where kids make something different every day.
Little cut out white paper, make eyes, and in the end of the yarn you can make it its top. And so we're making little caterpillars in our milk.
This we're doing very nicely.
The quiet area, where many kids get their homework done. And the favorite place of all, the backyard. Out here, the kids are free to dig, build, play, pretend, and above all, work together.
About a month ago, me and Nick, the kid that's working with me in this hole, we claimed it, and it just took about a month to dig this whole hole.
The staff says new kids take a while to adjust to all these choices.
Well, what should I do now? Already they kind of are getting like sheep, you know. They've been programmed or just herded from one fun thing to the next in a lot of places. So we'll say, well, do you feel like being quiet or noisy?
But before long, the kids are making their own decisions, a skill which will hopefully last forever.
If you go home, all you really can do is just sit around and watch TV. But when you come here, like, you can dig in the backyard or go into the craft room and do crafts.
The program is kept small. Only about 25 kids are accepted every year, and they are at the clubhouse for a few hours before or after school. The cost is reasonable, though, about $8 a day.
Good program. Coming up, tragedy on a... Also in sports
in the nation. The Clubhouse After School Caring and Sharing program has been picked up as one of the top 10 after-school programs in the country by Working Mother magazine. The program is based on a unique concept. The kids help make virtually all the decisions, from what snacks they eat to what they will do for Halloween to what they will do each day after school. Organizers say it helps kids become responsible for their own actions while learning to work together, and the kids seem to appreciate it.
If you go home, all you really can do is just sit around and watch TV. But when you come here, like, you can dig in the backyard or go into the craft room and do crafts.
The program is small. Only 25 kids are accepted each year. But for every 8 children, there is one staff member. The cost is also reasonable, about $8 per session.
Good story.
Yeah, well, the Material Girl...
Taking the news a lot these days, but what can be done to curb the growing problem? One Tulsa woman is taking on the question and has some simple answers. Karen Keith looks at her program in this week's installment of Success Story.
The clubhouse in downtown Tulsa is full of creative energy generated by the kids without much adult intervention. That's been the experience of the children here since 1977.
There's lots of stuff to do. Well, you can come out in the backyard, or you can read in the quiet room, or do crafts.
That's your city over there, Harrison?
Or you can go into the stage area and dress up. It's fun. It's fun to do.
You can, like, pick where you want to go. Like, you can have as much snack as you want.
I don't believe in entertaining children. I believe in giving them the tools to entertain themselves. And when I was growing up, I would have died if my parents had come down to the creek to try to show me how to build a fort, you know.
Drawing on her own childhood experiences, Sue Lawyer Tarr has created a child's paradise.
Okay. Go, Ryan. Hey, Ryan, I think we need a bigger monkey bar for you.
The Pride and Joy, our adventure playground. Well, this is my idea of a dream. Probably this is my childhood dream built out there in terms of what a fun backyard would be.
But in the midst of all the fun, children learn a lot of sound lessons in life.
At other places, they don't really enforce stuff like not hitting people and stuff like that. They say, oh, stop it. But here, you have to talk it over with the other person. I think it's a better environment than most other daycare centers.
There's the over-competitive child who thinks that they're not first. It's not right, you know. So they'll push and shove for the least little extra thing.
Could you please scoot over?
So we just try to make sure that there are checks and balances, so kind of those that shove go last. So you see them start being able to look from other people's vantage points that way.
Sue believes learning those lessons could solve a lot of problems our youth face today.
In terms of prevention, I think that people are seeing what good quality school-age care can provide that way, not just warehousing kids.
To share what she has learned, Sue wrote 2 books and is teaching classes at Tulsa Junior College. Part of that class includes a field trip to the clubhouse.
If you can inspire and empower children and interact with them in a way, then you just don't have these problems that come up.
Every day that Sue works at the clubhouse, her research continues. And it is her subjects, the children, who benefit the most.
Well, this is a nice place, and I just liked it. I liked it. People are really nice, you know.
Karen Keith, News Channel 2.
Now, the school has also been doing research with Wellesley College and may soon get a $1.4 million grant to continue research here in Tulsa. Tulsa's been hit with quite a few scams lately. Coming up next.
Israel's early warning systems when missiles are fired on them. An act of kindness from Tulsa area kids trying to reach out to war-torn Bosnia today. The fifth graders hope to bring some encouragement to folks there by sending them some T-shirts. So far, they've gathered about 700 T-shirts. Today, the shirts and other gifts were dedicated at a prayer ceremony held at the Fellowship Congregational Church in honor of the suffering Bosnians.
The reason we started this is because of the war that's going on in Bosnia, and the children and women and people in Bosnia don't have very many clothing or any other things.
Good for those youngsters.
I know, so young and compassionate already.
Definitely. And still ahead on 2 News.
Worldwide Summit. The summit is designed to get children and adults working together to help the world's children.
The community of Tulsa has always been a place that cares about kids, and so it will be very much in the Tulsa tradition for all of us to participate in this community.
The candlelight vigil will be held in Tulsa September 23rd. Well, it looks like hot days are coming back.
Lined into left field. That's the first hit of the game. A 2-out single by Ken Kennedy.
Well, the difference is when a guy looks as bad as Kennedy has looked on fastballs away.
Mayor Roger Randall is hoping voters give him another term in office. Here's Brad Van Landingham with a profile of the Democrat in the race for mayor.
He's leaving no stone unturned. On this day, Roger Randall spoke with children at the Clubhouse-After School Caring and Sharing facility.
City level is where we run the parks and look after the streets, do all the kind of things that you use most in life.
Randall says kids are the foundation of Tulsa's future, and even now they play an important role in city government.
I mean, every time I buy a G.I. Joe, I'm helping the city.
Yes, you are. Every time you buy a G.I. Joe, you help pay the cost of mowing the grass at the park or putting in playground equipment.
As for substance, Randall says over the last couple of years, his administration has set a lot of new direction for the city, from improving living conditions at public housing complexes and increasing fire and police manpower to making new strides in economic development, more jobs.
But most importantly, we led the effort to adopt a new form of government. I think it's going to be good for us and set a better foundation for the future of Tulsa. But having been a leader in urging Tulsans to adopt it, I'd like to now have the opportunity to prove that the new structure can deliver better services and better quality of accountability to the Tulsa public.
Randall says good communication skills will help lead the new form of government. He says his experience as state representative, state senator, and for the past 2 years, mayor, makes him a natural choice to work with the mostly inexperienced newcomers who will be elected to the 9 council positions.
Randall said...
Still to come, a tragic ending in the search for a... Do something for the children.
In Tulsa, Oklahoma, All Souls Church started an on-site daycare program available to children from surrounding neighborhoods. But their commitment to children extends further into the community. Sue Tarr, a member of the church, established a program by using community resources like the local library. With the assistance of exchange students, her Global Neighbors program teaches children from communities throughout the city about cultural diversity and international issues. Every month, children learn about a different country and its people through slideshows, storytelling, literature, and special projects and activities prepared for each meeting.
Global Neighbors is a program that we created in conjunction with our local library system, a group of volunteers who help support programs that will enrich children's lives and empower them to understand the world they live in through meeting high schoolers who are foreign exchange students from other countries and hearing about their country and also learning about their country.
Now this is a slide from the city I'm from, that is Munich. That's a pretty big city. It's 1.2 million inhabitants. So
the children that attend the Global Neighbors program are invited from different child care centers here in Tulsa, and also the different scout groups attend. So it's a way of networking within the community and providing a program that serves a large group of children.
And the father was really sorry that they did that to the kids. So everybody's happy that they live now together again.
And they lived happily ever after? Okay. Und wenn sie nicht gestorben sind, dann leben sie noch heute.
One of the reasons for a program like Global Neighbors is so that children can start to see themselves as planetary citizens. And also, a lot of them have such misunderstandings in terms of what other cultures have.
Checkpoint Charlie. Checkpoint Charlie means the hole in the wall.
For this meeting, the children have created a mock-up of the Berlin Wall. They were later invited to tear it apart to symbolize global changes and the dismantling of barriers to cultural understanding around the world.
I've never really liked watching the news or anything, but now, I know more about the countries from school and stuff, and it just kind of inspires me to watch the news a little better.
It's fun, and you learn new things, and you meet new people.
One of the greatest gifts in working with children is to watch the light go on when they start seeing that they can create their own lives. And basically, we're providing an environment and providing experiences which allow that. Our children are deprived of many things, from health care, education, just being supported by their parents, receiving love and nurturing. So there's all areas of deprivation, and it cuts across many lines. Parents care about their children. They do the best they can, but they need help. We all need help. We're all intertwined that way.
In Rochester,
but a group of more than 200 got together in the name of peace. Elementary students from Tulsa and the Union School Districts gathered at Tulsa Junior College. A new organization, Children for Peace, put together a series of events to introduce students to different cultures. Today's focus was the Soviet Union.
One of the things we feel is that the more you know about other people, the better you will be able to appreciate them, and perhaps we can get rid of some of this fear.
Well, I think they're trying to get America and Russia to become more peaceful, and there's the exchange and everything, and I think it's real neat. It's a good idea to do this is because so that we can learn more about Russia and they can learn more about the Americans.
The children's participation in the peace dance is an expression of love for the earth and her people. This is the second year for the program. Nice idea. Al?
All right, basketball to Drake in a big ball game, or...
Part of this, our job, as I see it, and I feel responsible in this area, is helping children become global citizens, global neighbors that way. Active in recycling, also in terms of meeting people from other countries and starting to see everyone as their neighbor rather than the enemy. And it's interesting because this last week, there's actually a conference going on right now in the country called From Daycare to Disarmament, the Soviet Union and American women. And 3 Soviet women were in Tulsa last week, and the children were doing posters. And they were doing peace posters, some were going, well, they're our friends, why do we have to do peace posters? They weren't even seeing the Russians as our enemies anymore. So they were doing a lot of ecology posters, which is wonderful to take back over to the Soviet Union, too. And they went down and sang a song for them, and, just some way becoming the goodwill ambassadors. And there is something about a child speaking peace that reaches through. I like to tell the children a story about, there's a town in Dinkelspool, Germany, and back at the middle ages, I think around the 17th or 18th century, the Tsar was going to invade Dinkelspool, and the children went out and met him on the road and begged with him to spare the town, and he did. And so just to tell children about how powerful they truly are, and just what one letter like from Samantha Smith to Soviet Premier did in terms of changing the world.
One thing about the recycling and everything of it, that a group that I did my practicum in this year, they did, they were collecting cans, but they collected a whole box of cans, and then they rinsed the cans out, and we took them outside with that box of cans, and you should have seen how much fun they had trying to stomp down those cans and everything else. But you just put them all out on the ground, and they're over there stomping them and everything, you know, but they had a lot of fun with it.
This is the new Indian country dance. You stomp, the can dance, stomp. Yeah. And, you know, getting active in politics locally, too. When elections are on, going to visit campaign headquarters. And politicians love that. In fact, our mayor was running for re-election, and the kids went down to his campaign headquarters and ended up coming out with a TV crew for, you know, to our center and letting the kids ask him questions. You know, kids would ask him, you know, do you get many phone calls, or do people get mad at you? Or he was telling the kids about every time you buy a candy bar or a toy, you're helping Tulsa. You know, and one little first grader made it on the 6 o'clock news going, you mean every time I buy a G.I. Joe, I'm helping Tulsa? You know, so it tuned in. He paid a compliment. This is probably you consider a compliment too in terms of your program. But I love it when people come to see your program and actually seem to see it. And you know, those that you come and go, oh, how nice, or just that you don't really feel like you're seeing what's happening. But he looked around after he'd been there a while and he went, most centers look like they're set up for the parents, but this one looks like it's set up for the kids. You know? So those kind of compliments mean a lot when you feel like the kids know when they walk in, they see what's going on, they tune in. And he also liked our crayon box. You know how crayons look in the store? Well, that's just not normal, you know. So we have this giant crayon box, and he thought, oh, that's how crayons should look, you know. One of the things about child-centered, child-initiated activities we need to hold in mind is it does take low staff ratios. Staff ratio of 1 staff for 8, 1 staff for 12 children. If you're getting up above 1 staff for 15 children, you're really getting into an area where you're maybe just trying to put out fires, you know. You're a human being, right? I am, at least. You know, we try to be super, but I mean, believe me, we're human beings. So if you're just putting out fires, and that's where the word burnout comes from. So I had one gym teacher who was running an after-school program in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, and he had like 45 children in a gym after school, supposedly being sponsored, you know, by the city and the schools. And he said, I've got them running laps, you know. And I said, well, you better start yelling, not at the kids, you know, just yelling to get support. And I have a friend who does a very good job of getting support. She's in a wheelchair, and she puts on a bear costume. She goes down and sits on the streets. And if she can't, you know, get down a curbside, you know, she starts talking to people. And it's not easy to ignore a bear, you know, in a wheelchair that way. So the same with this. Get your people from the schools, get your people from the city out there. Say, you run it for a day. You see what it's like. You know, I want support and help here. So we're going to have to become very vocal in terms of children's needs that way. And there's also become very vocal in terms of children's right and their need to play, too, because there's kind of a backlash, fundamentalist view of child care in terms of after-school school. Well, ASS is what I consider that type of program. So, the other thing, too, if you have high staff ratios up about 1 to 15, you start getting into that barnyard pecking order. You know what that is? Where the meanest chicken rules. You know, so that basically you have a child-dominated program, not child-centered, child-initiated. So you have the tyrant and the anarchist. So a lot of reasons to keep your ratios low.
And we don't have, because we have a ratio of 1 to 8, if we do have someone out, we just don't get a substitute that day at work time, because it doesn't happen very often that we have anybody out. And that's great to not have a sub, because I think it's really hard to get a good sub that can do an adequate job. I think they can do better in a preschool program than an after-school care program.
School agers take relationships.
It really
does.
To build relationships. And so that's one of our biggest pluses, we think, is the fact that we don't feel that we need. Now, if we had somebody who was going for an operation and going to be out a month and a half, that would be a different situation, but we never had anybody out. It's more than a day.
Yeah. And I like to say, if we're doing our jobs, you know, and you have that ratio built in, and basically we're just going around positively reinforcing all the wonderful things they're doing. And, you know, and also, if we're doing our jobs, it's like we could all leave and everything would flow. We you know, that hum when on a good day when things are really going great, you know, that kind of hum that's in the air and the focused behavior that's happening there. Let's see. I need 2 children to volunteer, 2 big kids, children. And can I borrow that pen back here? We've been talking a lot about child-centered, child-initiated. So, who's feeling like a kid? Annie, would you be one of the kids? You want to catch ball there? Okay. Who else wants to play ball? Anybody else? Okay, Kelly? Okay, and what we're going to do is just start throwing Kelly's ball, Annie. And you can get up and move around here a little bit and stand up and... Okay, now they're playing ball, and we're at the park. Now this is a good ball. This ball will go a long way. Now there's a street. See where that wall is there? There's a street there. Okay, so now Kelly's not, you know, the staff's there and the street's back there, but, you know, they're starting to inch a little bit that way, and Annie's kind of ornery anyway, so she's going to throw that ball as far as she can, so, okay. So let's see now, Becky, would you be the staff in charge? Here, let's throw the ball back one more time. Whoa. Okay, Annie. And just throw that ball into the street, and you do what you would do.
Wait just a minute. Let one of us go get it for you. You know, it's really dangerous when you get near the street. You're so short, a car might not see you over there.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, and let's go ahead and stay up one more time.
And I do want to say, Annie, let's be real careful when we do this.
Deborah, would you? Oh, let's see. Let me throw the ball, and you be the staff in charge. Okay.
Hold it. You know the rules about the street. Let me go with you. Now, we've talked about this before we came out, to be careful about the street, and that's what I'm here for, to help you. So we'll go together. Did you look both ways? All right, all right. In the future, just always ask me, and I'll see to it that we get it.
Thank you. Okay. Now,
maybe, Annie, if you all would go this way so that you won't be near the street and then you won't have this problem.
Oh, great. Follow through. Long range. So what about those interactions were child-directed, child-initiated? What about those? What about the actions that went on there were adult-directed? You know, which was appropriate in that case? You know, what you did, was that child-centered or was that adult-directed?
I don't know. You tell me. I was trying to be child-centered.
Okay.
Well, ours insurance company said the ball goes in the street. Our insurance company spells out really carefully what we are to do. No child is to go. The rule is no child goes to the street. A staff member must go ahead.
Okay, so your interaction with the child in terms of stopping that child from running the street, this child is really focused. I mean, Kelly's got a one-track mind. That ball goes in the street. She's playing ball. She's after the ball. So, do any of you know any real good ways to be real child-centered you know, something when that's coming up? You know, what's called for right then is to get that action stopped immediately.
The safety of the child, I don't care if I've made mistakes. I just stop where you are.
You say your name? Kelly, stop.
That's right. That's the first
thing
I would do.
It's just sort of a gut reaction for
Right.
most of us. It just comes out naturally. Huh? I mean, we know we do it. It's not like we're not doing it effectively.
Then I would explain.
Okay. So you start out with adult directed, but then it shifts.
Right.
Okay, into how would you explain it? What would you say to the child then?
Well, of course, we go over rules with them about that. I would just remember the day we went over the rules about the street, and I remind them of safety, cruise driving, safety. You know, they know they're not supposed to go through the street.
Yeah.
I just remind them.
Okay. So, Kelly, what was the rule about going in the street?
You're not supposed to go by yourself. You're supposed to let somebody else go.
Okay, so you're drawing forth from that. Then it turns into the child-centered, yeah. So you start out, and then you can shift it. But in safety issues, I don't know about you all, but I don't feel like I'm very child-centered. You know, it's definitely adult-directed, but it seems like what's appropriate to stop the action for children's safety that way.
You know, it's the same thing of, let's see, who looks on me? You do. Okay, it's probably just about it. I remember.